Hey everybody, how's it going? Have my acoustic guitar with me today. Ovation Celebrity, cold wood top. Love this guitar. Uh, why do I have it? Well, all weekend long I did nothing but play acoustic. It was an acoustic gig and weekend. And anytime, primarily I'm an electric guitar player, and anytime I have to play acoustic, um, I spend the entire week preparing by playing nothing but acoustic guitar. I don't so much as touch an electric guitar. It stays in the case all week, even for my lessons. Um, it's just all acoustic. And so I thought I'd bring some tips to you as as an acoustic guitar player or as an electric guitar player transitioning to play acoustic. Maybe you haven't played the acoustic guitar in a while. Maybe you've never played the acoustic guitar as an electric guitar player. Why that is, I don't know. But these are going to be some tips that are going to help you out transitioning from electric to acoustic or just upping your acoustic game. Now there's a lot of carryover from acoustic guitar to electric. There's a lot of things that I do on acoustic that I'll do with electric as well. There's very few things, however, that I'll do from an electric standpoint with an acoustic guitar. You just have to approach this instrument a lot differently if you're going from playing mostly electric guitar to acoustic. One of the things is you need to approach your chords differently. You need to approach your leads differently. You need to approach rhythm differently. What kind of differently? And just the way you phrase chord progressions and maybe chord substitutions. All right, so in a real short amount of time, we're going to try to cover all of that. Opening up your chords is the first thing we're going to talk about. By opening them up, I mean using suspended seconds, major and minor nines, and add nines. And we did a lesson a while back on nines, so you can go back and check that out. And also by opening up chords, you can use open strings. For example, if you're playing anything in the key of E, there's not really any excuse to not open up your chords a little more. When I'm playing in E, very rarely do I actually play E like this. I'll play it up here at big E5, just a big open sound. It's only two notes, the whole chord. Or I'm playing something like this. It's nice. It's an E add 9. Chords like that. Just something, just adding more notes into that, kind of giving the chord a little more flavor. I never play B like this. It's usually a B suspended, nice and open, or something like this, a B at 11. Just much more open sounding. Again, same thing with A. I almost never play A like this. It's either suspended or, better yet, one of these, an A add 9. Just adding in another note. Keeping chords like that, little A5. You can do that with other chords as well, for other keys. If you're playing in the key of C, I like to substitute the F. Instead of playing F like that, A, nice little folk song F. Whenever that can work, I use it. It's an F major 9. F major 7 also works as well. And these chords are a lot easier to make if you're a beginning student playing F. Everybody hates F when they're first learning it. I've been playing guitar for 15 years and I hate F still. Instead, that's much better. Approaching rhythm on an acoustic guitar is very different than approaching it as an electric guitar player. And even as a beginning acoustic guitar player, maybe you can use some of these little tips to up the stakes a little bit in your playing. What you want to do, instead of your typical, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3 that you might play with an electric, or big chords with an electric guitar, letting them ring out so that you don't step on anybody else's toes in the band and just get in the way. With an acoustic guitar, you can take a lot more liberties in your rhythm, and you can get a little busier. Still make sure whatever you're doing is within the boundaries of what everybody else is doing, so it doesn't sound like you're in your own little world. But the acoustic guitar being a very percussive instrument, you can take advantage of that. So instead of something, like we'll take an F major 9, for example, again opening up the chord, a G, and an A minor 9, and we'll play that, and instead of just a simple 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, you can do something a little different. those little idiosyncrasies that make the acoustic guitar a percussive instrument by adding in those quick little 16th note stroms, maybe some triplets in there. That can be a really cool way to approach rhythm. Another way to approach your acoustic instrument, instead of just strumming all the time, do some more picking. In a recent example, of course, this past weekend doing the acoustic gig, and there's two acoustic guitar players. Well, if one guy's strumming, an example from a song that we did, which was F, C, and G. I don't want to do exactly what he's doing. I want to do something that complements it while not doing exactly what he's doing. So instead of strumming along, what I would do is pick. And yeah, there's a definite pattern there. I spent all of like 3 seconds deciding exactly what I want it to sound like, because what I'm doing is what your picking is doing. There's accents in picking just like there is in strumming, and I would match what my rhythm is doing with his. I have the exact same rhythm that's being done by the guitarist that's strumming. I'm just doing it mostly in 16th notes now. But all the accents are there in the same spot. And, when I accent, I just hit a higher string usually. Now, in terms of what I'm picking, I don't know that I could tell you. We could easily spend an entire lesson video on just flat picking. So take some of your chords from other chord progressions, not just that one, but some other songs that you've done, and instead of just strumming them, just randomly pick some notes, and just through a series of down, up, down, up, down, up, just alternating that pick. Don't even worry about a set pattern, just randomly pick some notes out of the chord and see what you can come up with. Now, approaching lead lines in acoustic, that's interesting. Again, there's plenty of carryover from the electric onto acoustic. You're using the same theory, you're using the same neck theory and scale theory and whatnot, but you have to approach it differently, because you're not really relying on a lot of effects. You're not really relying on a lot of gain, distortion, and all that. All that crazy tapping and the pick tapping, that kind of thing is really not at your disposal in this case. Sure, you can shred as an acoustic player. look at Tim Reynolds. The really fast picking. However, you have to be a much more accurate picker. You have to be, I think you just have to be a better overall guitar player in terms of ability to be able to do things like Tim Reynolds does. You have to be very accurate, again, because you don't have the luxury of effects and distortion to cover up any mistakes. One of the reasons that I've always practiced a lot of lead lines on an acoustic, even if they're for electric, because I want to make sure I'm hitting the right stuff. Then go over to electric, play it clean, then crank up the distortion, and it's going to sound a lot better. So let's take a look at an example of how you would approach a lead line with an acoustic. Okay, so electric players, go to acoustic and go through this checklist. 3 things. How am I approaching chords? How am I approaching rhythm? How am I approaching leads? Those 3 things need to be looked at differently than your electric guitar, and it's going to take at least a month of just sitting down with an acoustic guitar and playing it as much as you can, exclusively if you can, but a lot more than your electric guitar. For you acoustic players, hopefully some of these tips are going to help to open up your playing and enhance your ability. So if you have any questions, andrewsmusiccorner.com, ask me. I'll see you next week.